Hello and welcome to the tutorial series to help guide your planning for your project using the PBL Planner. My name is Carissa Barnes and I am a resource teacher in the district. I work primarily with the Kearney cluster, but I'm here to walk you through the structure of the planner and to give you some tips for ease of use with your team. This first video is meant to help just orient you in the planner and the big picture overall. So let's go ahead and get started. A couple of points to keep in mind as you make your way through orienting yourself to the planner. One is that it's recursive and nonlinear. So there is not a one particular point that you need to start at. Part of that is going to be organic according to what's happening with your own team and with the structure of looking for your client and planning your project. So we just wanted to make sure that you understand that it is meant to be completed and worked within in whatever makes sense for your team. Secondly, we wanted to really emphasize the fact that the purpose of the planner is not just for the sake of completion. It really is meant and intended to guide the project design and the development and to help keep multiple things in mind as you go through the process. And then lastly, we wanted to let you know or remind you that it is intended to be collaborative. And so our hope is that all of the team members will be in there. You will use it as a living document even after the end of this week as you go, or these 2 weeks, and then as you go into your school year. So the first thing I wanted to let you know about is that the structure of the planner itself has a number of different resources at the top. You can see that there are links to the 6 aspects of the planner, as well as an exemplar to help you see a living document that is complete. And you also have resources for just needing to, if you need to generate project ideas. The first item that you will see, or the first piece that you will see in the planner, is the project synopsis. And this example that is on the screen for you is actually straight from the exemplar. The project synopsis, once it's completed, is a tool that will be helpful to share with students, to share with the partners who are working with you in the project, as well as your community. But it really ends up being a useful tool for any of the stakeholders to be able to see the big picture of the project. Next, there is the project roadmap. And in the project roadmap, this is where you really start to dig into your individual classes and determine who is going to do what part of the project and when. What are those contingencies? What are the things that need to be completed in chronological order in order to get to the end product. And so this really does help the progression, help you think through the progression, as well as beginning to think about standards alignment and the various responsibilities in the different classes. I do think that this is also a good place for there to be some backwards mapping as well. Next, the project components. So once you've gone through and you've identified the roadmap and the progression, this is where you really start to develop what those components are. You might be thinking within these components, well, first of all, what is the deliverable? How will we be assessing it? What do we want students to know and be able to do at the end of this that's connected to the project, yes, but that's also connected to skills development. So you can see here in this example that you've got standards alignment between U.S. history and English in this particular example, where students are developing interview questions, the essential skills that students will be practicing throughout this, and then what the teachers and what the team will be using to evaluate student progress in that particular portion. So the project components are those big pieces that are connected to deliverables throughout the course of the project. The compendium is a wonderful resource in helping to build a digital tool or a print tool or both, in which all of the key elements that students will be exploring throughout the project, or many of them at least, can be included. And so you can see here a couple of examples: the project synopsis, A weekly planner is another great component for the compendium so that students can be using it as a place to manage their time and the various demands from their different classes. And then the compendium is also a great place for you to have common writing structures or common vocabulary that you may want to be emphasizing with students, as well as common texts that they'll be exploring in multiple classes as well. And then lastly, the project website is where that's the public facing place where the overview of the project it lives. And this is something that could be shared with students, that students could share with their parents. Your administrators have access to this. And this is a great way to show the sort of the big picture of the project and that overall purpose. So with that, that brings us to the end of the overview. And please join us in the next videos where you will be discovering more details about the particular elements of the project.